And then I was working on these, and then in December, when this situation with Luigi Mangione happened, I saw some kind of connection to the objecthood of the way that's objectified, this idea of the sex thing. So I had these cards produced in order to encode a different poem by John Keats, which is called A Song About Myself.
Why did you choose that song for Luigi?
Well, this poem, the poem goes, there was a naughty boy was he would not stay at home, he would not pleasant be, you know, it's, the poem matched, yeah. So I try to find these, you know, I also like to have a little fun.
And you went online and you collected all the images?
I did a deep dive and I found as many images as I could. I wanted pictures before the event that we know him for, and I also wanted his shirt off because he looks best with the shirt off.
Yeah. Totally. He's like a folk hero now.
Yes.
He just raised a ton of money for his defense.
Exactly. It's,
yeah, you should send him a few for prison. We actually...
You know, I was looking, yeah, exactly. I was looking how this is. Let's see. I don't really want to interact too much.
Totally.
My interest, listen,
art.
What's so nice though, exactly, but the reason it works with the other ones is that it's very hard for me or other people to imagine him as a real person. He's an idea and an object. An object because of his body and also an idea because of what he did, but right now when I think of him, I can't imagine what he's thinking about.
Yeah.
In the same way, I can't imagine that any of these gay porn stars from the 90s and 2000s are people too. That's the part, you know, they're objects and sex ideas, right?
Yeah.
Where he's a sex object and a political idea. But there's a similarity there, right? Yes. There's a similarity to pornography, yeah.
Interesting.
I was living in Texas, and in summer 2008, a friend asked if I wanted to move to Zurich for a couple of weeks, and I'd never been to Europe. So I went, and then, you know, they asked me to stay, and then the world fell apart.
When was
that? 2008. So the financial crisis happens, and I had a Swiss job, so I stayed.
I see.
And eventually I lived there. You know,
you love the vibe in Zurich?
No, that's definitely not.
You don't
no, it's more like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like a economic refugee migrant, right? And then eventually, but after, like, you know, when do you know that it ends? 2008 was a hard year, and I didn't want to give that up. And eventually I lived there, and that's where my life was. You know, I moved when I was 21, 22.
Right.
So my whole adult life has been spent in Zurich, right?
Very cool. This is like the tallest single building in London as a gallery.
My knees hurt so much. When I was installing it, I was just running up to the top and running down again so I could see it like in whole. But then the rooms are doable on their own, so it's really nice.
Right.
So here we see the first painting in the exhibition. There's more upstairs. These paintings are made with encaustic, this material I've worked with for the last few years. And encaustic is something that's made out of bee resin, beeswax, and damar tree resin, and you work with fire to make it. And it has this kind of opaqueness where light hops through, and I love this depth. And so then this image, so like the new series is with these black backgrounds with these broken fences, these kind of inky backgrounds.
Yeah.
And a fence, I find it really interesting as a chain link fence is a grid that's held together by its own tension. So when it breaks, it goes either to chaos or freedom, but they're the same thing. It depends how you feel and how the viewer wants to interpret that, right? In the same way where a fence either keeps you safe or keeps you out, right? But the pieces have no opinion on that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. You kept the painting upstairs on purpose, like you separate the paintings from
Exactly.
The
so like there's one here, and then there's two more installations, and the rest of the paintings are upstairs. Yeah.
I see. Wow.
And this is
it's the best I've seen this room. Like
it's nice to use it for sculpturally. Yeah. This is an inflatable sun. So if you plugged it in, like for displays or for celebrations or things, it had with this built-in light thing. And I've been very interested, and I am, in this idea of deflation, hanging up things that are supposed to be full when they're empty, or just showing things in the way that they're not meant to be seen and what that means. So here there's this kind of strung up sun. It's not full, but it still gives light. It just doesn't give the light that we imagine the sun is supposed to. It's a dimmer version, and it's not a full rotund one either. It's hanging.
It feels like a deflated balloon with some orange.
Exactly. So that's I mean it's just I mean that's what exactly it's I mean it's just it is just a deflated like a special kind of balloon. That's what an inflatable is, and then it has these giant light bulbs in it that normally would light the whole orb up, and now because of how it hangs, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. How did you bring this from Zurich? Just
It rolls.
stuff it in a luggage.
It's like I mean it has a packaging, yeah. And then another playing card work.
Oh, I see.
That's with these wildfires that I began working with in the summer.
Not LA fires related.
These are not
Looks like it.
But you know that's the thing. The worst part about the LA fires is that they're not the first like wildfire disaster, and they're not the last one.
No.
Exactly. You know. So.
Yeah, totally.
And this.
Yeah.
And this encodes a text, another poem by John Keats that's The Human Seasons. This poem, this famous romantic poem that deals with relating humans' lives with those of the natural world. And when those get out of whack, when our synergy is not the same as the natural world, things start to get weird. Yeah. And things that are disasters and natural occurrences that have always happened now become man-made. That becomes a very weird world to live in. Yeah.
It's the same size as the ones downstairs.
No, it's
a bit taller actually.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, it's a different size.
Should write the poem at the back for whoever buys it.
The title of the work is always the title of the poem,
Right.
so it's really easy to find.
it.
Yeah. And I think that if you were like in the CIA and did code breaking,
Right.
I think that it's readable. Like it's a really basic code, right? Like like I think it's not a hard code to break.
So an agent could actually just.
I think they could read it like immediately. I don't think they have to write it down.
Interesting.
And this is a sculpture installation called Peace. And to make this, I took 56 of these balloons of a dove, and I have them filled up at a toy store in Zurich. So I have this massive amount of balloons, and I walk home to my studio with them, just being so annoying on the street.
Right.
And then I put them in the studio and I wait 6 months for them to deflate, so that the balloon is both pristine but also used up in this in-between thing. It's been penetrated once, and now it's done. It's both virginal and also totally been used.
Yeah.
And what's also beautiful that I love is that the wind, while I'm walking, it knots the cord together. So that there's this element of a performance, just not my performance of creating them.
I see. Interesting. What's the name of this piece again?
Peace, P-I-E-C-E.
Peace, it's called Peace.
P-I-E-C-E.
P-I-C-E.
Often, yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
but that's,
Love it.
but there's a connection there.
Yeah. You have total of 3 floors of art?
3, yeah. Well,
Sometimes it's 5 floors. It's gallery. You never know. If
yeah, no, it's just 3. The rest, there's only so much. And then up here is just the rest of this painting series of these fences. That we kind of end with the ambiguity, this openness of something that's protecting or keeping us out, something that's going towards freedom or going to utter chaos. Yeah.
That's a fence series.
Yeah. I guess, yes. I call them harlequins.
Harlequins.
Because, exactly. Because of the pattern is the same as a harlequin pattern because these lines, but of course they are depictions of broken fences. Yeah. Of order going towards chaos, of order going towards freedom, of, the back and forth, yeah.
I see. How did you make the lines again exactly?
So I build up a painting. I work with everything hot, with all liquid and hot. I use fire, and then I carve in the design.
It looks carved,
and it looks like a woodcut. And then I fill it in, and then with a razor blade I scrape it away to reveal the painting. So because all the pigments go to different places during the heating process. So I try to find the painting or reveal the painting.
Right. Why did you want London and not Zurich? Just curious, because there is a Bernheim in Zurich.
Well, I had a show in Zurich less than 2 years ago, and I had my last show was also with Maria when she had the old location near Barclay Square, and that was 4 years ago. So London, it was the time for London. But also for me, it's super exciting. It's nice. I work with different types of work, different materials that might not seem like they go together. And when I have just a gallery that's a white cube, which I've had mostly for the last 10 years of my career, I have to think of how to visually match everything. And this gallery, it's such a privilege for me to be able to build up against floors in different rooms and try to spin it together and see if the work does hold together, if it does make sense.
You can have one piece.
And I can use that room for one piece. I can do it. So it gives me a lot of freedom to try things out and to try to spin to try to make sense of my total narrative. Because all the works to me are the same. This painting to me is the same as one of those ready-mades downstairs. It's the same as the grid of cards. In my head, they all work the same way, but they look different. I know that. Yeah.
There's one more room.
Yeah.
Right? This is the heaviest.
The finals, yeah.
And what's your take on the art world these days, generally? Anything changed? Art fairs are still fun. I mean, what's your?
I don't go to art fairs for fun, but that's because I don't want to have that unless I have work to do, right? But I don't want to linger because I don't want to mix vacation with work where it's neither one of them. And it's like the worst thing, you know? So that's just, I've been to a lot of art fairs like this, but I think it's important that I understand that people can see a lot of art at one time, and art fairs are not just supportive of galleries, they're also supportive of artists, and they, it's good for artists to be able to move pieces and pay for their studios and make new work. It's not just the galleries that they benefit.
Maria said she's kind of tired of going to all the fairs because people spend their whole life just going from one biennale to a fair.
It's very exhausting, and I think it's very
and you always
it's a lot of do you want to go upstairs? You want to finish here, or how?
My friends are coming down after we finish.
So I mean, there's it's not the best situation to see art, and there's only a certain type of art that benefits from it. So
and it's like the same people. I feel like it's a Soho house where you have to order the same.
And that can be very fun when you're a member.
Yeah, true. Exactly. Like I always see Magnus Resch or Kenny Schachter or Pussy Riot, and it's kind of fun in a way, but then it's like you never left. I go Basel, Miami, and Basel, Switzerland.
Yeah, it's a cruise ship. It just has different stops.